So now we just do a bit of theoretical presentation because normally after lunchtime people fall asleep. So this is the best time to do walking meditation. So before you do walking, it's just good to give a short talk on the walking. Okay, so how many of you never done walking meditation before? Okay, so we have a few who are new to this idea of walking meditation. Okay, so we carry on. Yeah, next slide. Okay, so in the meditation, we emphasize it is not the physical posture that we are training actually the mind. We are not training the body. So a person can sit, very nice, full lotus posture, very Instagrammable pose, or do those very nice kind of posture for Time magazine, but that's not the case. Likewise, we are not training the body to do nice walking and whatever. Yeah, so the whole idea is whatever posture you're in, you have to be mindful of impermanence. We're training the mind. All right, so it can be walking, standing, sitting, lying down. So there are several meditation objects which can do this. Okay, so for breath, only, let's see, when it's stationary, maybe like sitting, maybe standing, or then lying down, sitting and lying down. Maybe standing. Walking, a bit hard to do the breath. Yeah, very hard to do the concentration to breath. So there are other kinds of meditation which can accommodate all four. For example, like the loving kindness we talked about earlier this morning before we conclude the session. All right, okay, next. Okay, so this is the chorus on the Satipatthana Sutta, the four foundations of mindfulness. So normally in the Noble Eightfold Path, when we talk about right mindfulness, we refer to this Satipatthana Sutta, the four foundations of mindfulness. So again, every time the Buddha mentioned a meditation object, he will conclude with this chorus. It's just like music, there's a certain chorus here, people will repeat the certain verse again and again. So this sutta is the same. There's a stock formula. When a person is mindful within, internally or externally, right? So when you are, let's say, doing walking meditation or sitting meditation, a person can be just mindful, within the parameter of the body. Let's say through the breath, or they can feel outside, externally. There are certain mental energies, or when we talk about external, it can be for example, certain meditation object. Let's say a person visualize another person's, for example, body or dead corpse, right? So that is external. It's not your own body. So there's a few examples. So or both internally and externally. And the next one, that's the key one. To focus on the phenomenon of origination and passing away with regard to the body. Right, so the best you can observe both. If you cannot observe both, then observe one, either the passing away or the origination. And if you still cannot observe, right, you cannot observe rising and passing away, you try to be patient, stay with the meditation object. Right, so the whole idea is as long as there's no clinging and desire is reduced, then that is correct. Okay, next. Right, so this is the phrase which I mentioned only before I end the meditation. I will mention this. If a person maintains this boundless, limitless heart, goodwill, above, below, and all across, right? Whether standing, walking, sitting, or lying down, as long as he is awake, as you alert, one should be resolved on this mindfulness. This is called a sublime abiding here and now. Right? So this is just one meditation object. So there are actually more. Yeah, the Buddha mentioned many times. Okay, next. Okay, so there are these, the triple gem can be one of them. And together there's a package called the six recollection, the six anusati. So triple gem is the three, and the other three is the virtue, generosity, the good deeds you've done, and the recollection of devas. So if you attend a traditional Buddhist service, a person will be observing the six. Let's say a person take the 5 precepts. So there's recollection of virtue of your sila, right? Sila nusati. So if a person were to sort of be in a way proud of their precepts, right? Not in an egoistic manner. They keep their precepts very well and they don't do anything wrong, right? Then they are very guilty free and they reflect on this point. It will make the mind more wholesome. Make the mind wholesome. It's a kind of contemplation, right? Then same thing for generosity. All the good things you've done will help to boost the state of mind. And last one, recollection of the qualities of the devas. That means, there are certain deities. If let's say you know their fable, their stories behind them, probably you know why they get reborn in that realm. What do they represent? What are their virtues? So this is the another way to improve one's state of mind. Right. So this is the more all-rounded approach. So normally when I open meditation classes to the secular public, I would say non-religious person also can practice. Point number 4 and number 5, virtue and generosity, right? If they're a good person, they never do anything harmful, and they are sort of proud of it, and they keep on recollecting this virtue, that is also a meditation, right? And the good things they've done, that is also a kind of meditation. And those people who believe in certain religion, either one god or many gods, right? So that is the last point, recollection of devas. So they also can meditate, right? So Buddhism is very encompassing. Yeah? Okay, next. Okay, so I tell you the benefits of walking meditation. Some marketing first. Okay. So if you do walking meditation, the benefit number 1, you can endure traveling by foot. Right? So improve your endurance, improve your stamina. Right? You can travel longer distances. But nowadays, people drive. Unlike the Buddha's time, they have to walk by foot. Right? So this is the benefit, improve your endurance. Then he can endure exertion. Right? That means if a person were to put in effort, right, he can endure. It means improve your stamina endurance, right? Then, so this sutta is like a case study in the Buddha's time. The walking meditation, this will tell a lot about the speed of walking. Right? Nowadays, there are certain traditions that walk like slow motion. Right? Then like, hey, where go improve your stamina when you walk slow motion? But so in the Buddha's time, maybe they walk very differently. So this is just a case study. Yeah? Okay, then number 3, he becomes free from disease. Right? So again, you have to take in context. Free from certain diseases. If a person sits for too long or sedentary for too long, then might develop certain illnesses. So walking can prevent this, right? And number 4, whatever he has eaten and drunk, chewed and savored, becomes well digested, right? So after a meal, this is a good time to do walking. And 5, the concentration he wins while doing walking meditation lasts for a long time. And so if a person were to be able to practice meditation on the go while walking, then becomes a habit. And this concentration will last longer. All right, so it's called this Jangama Sutta. And the Thai people call John Clo. So there's some correlation between the language. Okay, next. Okay, so all right, so again, we are talking about this overcoming drowsiness, right? So let's say in the whole day meditation retreat and you feel drowsy. So these are a few tips of exertion. Okay, so this again, the story of Venerable Maha Moggallana. For those who didn't attend the previous retreat, I talk about the story of Venerable Moggallana nodding. That means before he attained enlightenment, was struggling in meditating, and he fell asleep during meditation. So the Buddha walked past and saw him sleeping. And what happened was the Buddha advised Venerable Moggallana a few tips, a few advice. So besides walking, um, one of the advice was to ask Venerable Moggallana to visualize light. Visualize light. So if a person were to okay, this is one of them, yeah. Okay, while walking, so you shake off the drowsiness next. It's called this Chapala Sutta. Sounds like Chapalang Sutta. Eh? We've got so many methods, and people with Chapalang. Okay, so if you are tired, if you feel drowsy, right, do not entertain this feeling, right? Do not entertain this feeling if you're tired, your meditation, you feel sluggish, if you entertain the tiredness, although there's this vipassana meditation, right? We talk about not clinging to any sensation, right? This is one that for beginners, try not to entertain first. It's a sensation, very nice. You pull you in and you go to la la land and will make you sleep. So you feel drowsy, do not entertain. We say avoid this sensation first. So this is the first advice. And then to keep yourself awake, you can recall the Dhamma. Whatever teachings you've learned before, right? You can have your own kind of debate, mental discussion, Dhamma talk in your mind. So this is one way to boost your mental defense. It's part of the Dhammanusati, the 6 recollection, thinking of the Dhamma teachings. Okay, then repeat aloud in detail the Dhamma as you have heard and memorize it. Okay, so now you're at home and your mic is silent, so you can, if you remember any chanting, by all means, yeah, you can chant. And if you still fall asleep, then you can pull your ears, right? Rub the lips. So this is another method. Okay, next. Right, and if you still fall asleep, feel tired, then you can get up, wash your eyes with water, and look around, refresh yourself. So this one way. Then the next one is this perception of light, right? So if a person were to visualize light in their meditation, so this is another way to keep yourself awake. But for my meditation, I don't practice this because, as mentioned in my previous lessons, that there might be risk, some risk involved. In case some people do develop, let's say, this divine eye, and they do not have the merit or wisdom to handle certain visions. Some people might go crazy, right? Seeing certain things. And this one, perception of light needs certain character, certain quality of individual then can develop. Yeah. So I go to detail later. And reclining on your right side, right? So if let's say you are really, really tired, even in walking meditation, you still can fall off. Walking meditation still can end up walking sideways like as if you're drunk. And the traffic police want to test you whether you're drunk. And you start to stray and slant off sideways, then I think, yeah, you can find the time to lie down and sleep, yeah? Okay, next. So I talk about the benefits of concentration. Will last for a long time. So there are various kinds of concentration. So the first one is called the jhana concentration, which is in the Eightfold Path. So there are certain meditations which doesn't do level by level jhana. So the breath is the one that does level by level. So if a person practices, let's say the four immeasurables, right? There's certain jhana skipping. Same with perception of light. The second kind of concentration is not the same as jhana. Yeah, it's a different kind of concentration according to this Samadhi Sutta. So you develop this divine eye, certain knowledge and vision. And number three, okay, so the third kind of concentration is to observe the arising and passing away of feelings, thoughts, and feelings and thoughts. Yeah. So this one is to develop mindfulness and alertness. So it's a separate kind of concentration. And number four, if a person were to observe arising and passing away of the five aggregates long enough until they practice, until their detachment, right, then this is another kind of concentration. So there are four. Now, some people can do four in one, some people may do two or three together, some might do individually one by one. So everybody has different capacity. Okay, so for my case, except for the visualization of the body from the beginning, right, I won't be doing any visualization. So it's mostly 1, 3, and 4. Yeah, 1, 3, and 4. Okay, so next slide. Okay, so these are how to do walking. Right now is the guidelines, do's and don'ts. Okay, so these are basically monastic rules, the monk's precepts. So you see the number over here, right? These are from the Sakya training rules. So the monks' 227 precepts can be classified into various segments. So there's one particular segment called the 75 training rules. So this will encompass the walking meditation, the behaviors of walking meditation. Okay, so so normally when a person do walking, if a person do not know the regulation, then end up walking like go shopping or go do marching. Right? So these are certain guidelines what you should do. A person will go sitting well restrained in inhabited areas, training to yourself. So either they go or sit well restrained. Okay, so when we talk about well restrained, it's talking about restraint in the senses. Not to tie yourself up, not the kind of restraint. So restraint means your eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, and mind. Whatever contact you have to be mindful of this desire and not cling to this sense object. So it's a very tough training. Yeah. And number 7 and 8, I will go or sit with eyes lowered in inhabited areas. Okay, so that's why if you look at Buddha images, Buddha statues, you normally don't see the Buddha look upward. You see the Buddha gazing downwards because it's part of the rules. So if a person do walking meditation, it's encouraged to gaze downwards, and then you find a safe area to walk, a safe pathway to walk, so that you won't langgar into something. Yeah. So if you lower your eyes, it's only when you find a safe place. So if let's say you go outside and walk, there's traffic and can be dangerous. You cannot afford to do this. You need to look at the traffic light. Yeah? You need to look at the cars and the surrounding. So this only applies if you're at a safe area. Okay, then number 11 and 12. Okay, so the benefits of lowering your eyes. If a person is looking all around, then there will be lots of sense impression, lots of sense contact. Unless your Kung Fu is very good, then you can able to not attach or not cling to the sense stimuli. It's good to filter to a certain extent, so you gaze like 45 degrees downwards, so it kinds of reduce partial this eye contact. Yeah. So 11 and 12, I will not go or sit laughing loudly in inhabited areas. The training to be observed. All right. So again, so if you do walking or practice meditation in a group, people will find it weird. Why you're laughing loudly? Yeah? People think you're crazy. He's already. Yeah? And then 13 and 14, I will go or sit speaking with a lowered voice in inhabited areas. A training to be observed. All right. So same thing. This is talking about being sensitive to others, right? Don't create so much noise. Then 15 and 16, I will not go or sit swinging my body in inhabited areas. A training to be observed, right? So this one is going to be dancing, swing your body. Yeah. So if you do walking meditation, you just walk. Yeah, walk straight. If you sit, then you just sit. Yeah, don't swing around. Okay, next. Same thing, 17, 18, swinging of arms. So when a person do walking meditation, because you cannot swing your arms, then how? So either you fold your palms, right? You put in front of your hip region or behind, right? So you can hold your palms together, right? So this avoid swinging. Because if you swing, then it will be distraction. Okay, then next, I will not go or sit swing my head. Same thing, yeah? Because I'm not head banging or rock and roll. And 21 and 22, I will not go or sit with arms akimbo. Akimbo means a very bossy position. It means your both hands at your waist. This is the arms akimbo. So it's like a very bossy kind of posture. And then 25, I will not go tiptoeing or walking just on the heels. So basically, when you walk properly, and don't walk like a thief or a burglar trying to rob a place. Yeah. And 21, walking behind, I will not teach Dhamma to a person walking ahead. And walking beside a path, I will not teach Dhamma. Okay, so the number 71 and 72 is part of the 16 precepts on teaching Buddhism. So monks have got 16 precepts about teaching Buddhism. Right. So while walking, we cannot teach. It's got so many rules. So the whole idea is, as long as you're not being questioned or not being requested, then you shouldn't be teaching or sharing Buddhism, sharing Dhamma, right? So you share because there's a demand, somebody curious, somebody asks you, then then you can share. So that's the whole idea. Okay, next. Okay, so we talk about the precepts integrating these sila nusati, right, while walking. So interesting fact, just food for thought. So if a person, let's say they have intention to steal something, every step they take to walk towards the object they want to steal, then that is breaking a precept, committing an offense. Every step is an offense. So we accumulate offenses like a debt, like that. So many offenses. Okay, and okay. So in the Buddha's time, the monks sometimes they walk in a group, do walking meditation in a group. So somebody will be leading in front. So let's say the teacher or the preceptor is walking in the front. Then the rest do walking meditation behind. So by the time they turn around, we should be walking to the turning point already. Then when they walk, then we walk the other direction. Yeah? So this is the walking meditation. And we shouldn't be wearing footwear. If let's say we're at home in the temple, we don't wear footwear, right? Very common. If doing walking meditation on the same meditation path with the senior, one should turn when the senior turns, but should not hit him with the corner, right? So the whole idea is there's some social distancing. Don't walk too close. When you turn, you hit another person, you langgar another person. Yeah? Okay, next. Okay, then lastly, we're talking about these case studies in the Buddha's time. Various groups of monks were walking, facing back and forth. So these are the leading monks in the Buddha's time. So each of them has their own fellow disciples, right? They're walking back and forth. So the last one, even the sort of the bad guy, Devadatta, also has followers. So they are doing walking meditation, and these are the group of people walking together. Okay, and the next. So so the Buddha was telling the monks, do you see the monks walking with these various group of monks, right? So the monks say yes. So those monks walking with Venerable Sariputta, these are the monks who are inclined with wisdom, and they walk together. That means when they're doing their free time, they will ask Venerable Sariputta things regarding to the wisdom teaching of the Dharma. Right? So they like to congregate together. So when they walk, they also walk together, walking meditation. Then the second group is this Venerable Maha Moggallana. So these are the group that's interested in psychic power. Yeah. So these are the people that we like to do a lot of this kasina meditation, a lot of visualization, and they develop certain abilities, right? And next one is Mahakassapa. Those who like to do ascetic practices, then they'll gather together. And same with Venerable Anuruddha, right? Also practice visualization practices, that the divine eye. And the next one is Puna Mantani Putta. Those who like to give Dharma talk, yeah, those are very good speakers, then they will gather together as well. And this Venerable Pali, Vinaya expert, Venerable Ananda, great learning, they memorize scriptures. And last one, Devadatta, evil desires, and people plotting to take over the Sangha. So these are the monks who gather together. Okay, so this is the discourse on walking. So just a case study. During the Buddha's time, you can walk as a group, no problem. Okay, this short talk. Okay, once we are relaxed. Okay, so this time we don't do visualization. We just feel the sensation of the body from head to toe. Right, so whatever sensation arises, starting from our skull, right, we just wish it well and happy. And we treat all of them as passerby, just like guests coming and going. And when they come, we don't cling on to them. And we also don't reject those sensations, which is hatred. Right? Clinging is greed. So we just let it come and go. So to make the mind moderate, make the mind middle, we use the thought of loving kindness. So we can think of the head, the face region, facial muscles, and your eye sockets. All the sensations that arise, we wish it well and happy. Whatever sensation it is, yeah? It can be tension, pain, itchiness, can be any of the four elements, warm and cold sensations. So we wish all the sensations well and happy. So we are not by any means doing any form of healing. Eh? We are just practicing mental detachment to the body. understanding the body phenomenon as it is. Then can think of the neck and shoulder regions. Whatever sensation that arises, we wish it well and happy. And then we can start to feel the arms, left and right arms, all the way to the fingers. Whatever sensation that arises, we wish it well and happy. And we can start to think of the torso region, your chest and the abdomen. Whatever sensation that arises, we wish it well and happy. And then can think of the back region and the spinal cord, your shoulder blade, all the way down to the tailbone. Whatever sensation that arises, we wish it well and happy. And can start to think of the hip region, your contact of the seat, all the way down to the rest of the feet. And all the sensations that arise, we wish it well and happy. And we can do a rescan from head to toe. Any part of the body you find it disturbance or hindrance, and just wish it well and happy. No need to resist or fight. Just observe as arising and passing away of sensations. So this is just like a warm-up to relax the body. Right, so next we can sort of zoom in from the breath. We are training different cognitive function. Yeah? So from a large area body, now we zoom into a smaller area below the nostril, above the upper lip. So in life, we also apply these various cognitive functions, like maybe looking at a handphone screen. Yeah? So it's a small area. But this time, there's no need to visualize anything, right? Just feel the contact of the skin below the nostril, above the upper lip. And same thing, when we inhale, wish the breath well, exhale, wish the breath happy. Make peace with the mind. So we start from one small area. If we cannot even handle the breath, how can we handle other bigger things in life? So can you be at peace with just feeling the breath? Or are you struggling? Yeah? So if you are struggling, means you have expectation. That is common, we call it beginner's mistake, common meditator's mistake, is the one to force the mind to be still. This is our habitual tendency. Just like in any work we do, we want to force things our way to get things done. So we've been conditioned in that way. So when you feel the breath, it's also this same habit. Yeah? So we are reprogramming the mind to achieve peace, not to force and create stress. So once we educate our mind with this philosophy, right, then we can apply in our external world as well. So inhale well, exhale happy, make friends in the breath, the most important step. If let's say you are feeling drowsy, then you can start to observe the impermanence of the breath. Try to catch the impermanence. Any change or sensation that you observe, this is one birth and death. So if there's a change of density of your in and out breathing, then there's a change of the birth element, birth and death of the earth element. If there's a change of temperature, hot and cold, then there's a birth and death of the fire element. If there's a change in your breathing rate, fast and slow movements, then there's a birth and death of the wind element. And if there's a change in humidity, moist or dry, when you breathe in and out, then there's a birth and death of the water element. So you can have either of these two kinds of thinking, either loving kindness, which is thoughts of non-hatred, or this impermanence of the breath, thoughts of non-greed. So both will actually reduce desire. So this is not just a Dhamma talk where you just think for 1 second. In meditation, we apply every moment, right? So once we stop thinking of the right thought, then all the wrong thoughts will come in to fill the mind. So meditation requires lots of thinking, not no thinking. No thinking means all the wrong thoughts will come in, either that or you fall asleep. So for those who are drowsy, don't entertain the thoughts of drowsiness. It means don't pay attention to the drowsy feeling. continue with this impermanence until the mind settles down. So the mind will settle until a point where it cannot settle any further, or the rate of settling is so negligible. Then we can safely say the mind is stable. Yeah? So this is the stability point. If your mind hasn't reached there, never mind, continue the impermanence for the mind to settle. And if your mind has reached this stability point, right, enjoy this experience, remember this emotion, and not forgetting the impermanence of the breath. Okay, and if you have tasted this stability point at ground level, ground zero, and we fulfill the two criteria of remembering the emotion and having the mind calm down, then we make a wish to let go of the mind, just like releasing a spring. So we just let go, like releasing a balloon, and we take a step back without interfering. Don't interfere. Let the mind evolve naturally by itself. And what we do is just observe the change of emotion. So the mind will naturally reach by itself the first level, from 0 to 1. And if it has arrived at the first level, there will be an indicator. This indicator is a more pleasant emotion. Earlier on was a bland emotion, so now level 1 is a pleasant emotion. So you take note of that emotion, and also together the impermanence of the breath for the mind to settle down. And a pleasant emotion is just an incentive for the mind for you to absorb, yeah? So there's worldly happiness and there is spiritual happiness, yeah? Worldly happiness is happiness derived from our sense pleasures, all the entertainment we have. So this one is spiritual pleasure. That means not from the sense pleasure. Self-sustaining happiness, yeah? So now in the lockdown, if you have nothing to do, then you can have this most economical hobby. Yeah? So if your mind has settled down to a new stability point, then you can enjoy this experience, remember the emotion, and not forgetting the impermanence of the breath. And if you have tasted the first level of concentration, make sure you fulfill the two criteria, right? First, you remember this emotion, and secondly, the mind has to be calm. And we make a wish for the mind to go down, right? Down to the ground zero again. So we let the mind descend back to the original one-pointedness. So as it descends, observe the change of emotion. And if you're back to ground zero, right, make sure the emotion is bland again. No more pleasant emotion. Then continue with the impermanence of the breath for the mind to settle down. And once the mind has calmed down, and you familiarize yourself again with the calmness, enjoy the experience, remember that emotion, and not forgetting the impermanence of the breath. And once we have tasted this ground zero again, and if the mind is calm and we remember the emotion, then we do the same thing. We let go of the mind, just like a child letting go of a balloon. Once we release the mind, we just let it evolve by itself. We don't have to interfere or do anything. We just need to observe the transition, right? Any change of emotion. So if the mind has arrived at the first level of concentration, then there should feel a pleasant emotion containing both joy and happiness. You cannot differentiate the two, never mind. Just know it's a pleasant emotion. And you take note of that emotion and also the impermanence of the breath for the mind to settle down. And the same thing, if the mind has settled down and you can enjoy this experience, familiarize yourself with the emotion and also the impermanence of the breath. Okay, and once you've tasted the first level, then we can make a wish to go back down to ground zero. So as the mind descends, again, we take note of the transition of the mind, any change of emotion, And once the mind has arrived at the original one-pointedness at level 0, then we make sure the emotion is bland, no more pleasant emotions, and continue the impermanence of the breath for the mind to settle down. And once the mind has settled down to the original one-pointedness and calm down, then you can extend the awareness throughout the rest of the body. So even when the mind is extended throughout the rest of the body, we can be mindful of the impermanence of that whole body as well. So the whole idea is wherever your attention is placed, whether internally, externally, near or far, wide or small area, right? That is either we have two options. Either we can choose to engage in the wrong kind of thinking. That means we react with desire, greed, or hatred that lead us to more suffering, or we can choose to contemplate on the right thoughts, either loving kindness or impermanence, to reduce this desire. So it's considered skillful thought. Yeah. So in Buddhism, there's right thought, yeah? Skillful thoughts. So we can conclude the meditation for here for now.